Amias, do tidy yourself up. We're going over to Meredith's for tea, remember?
Oh, yes, I'd forgotten.
Philip, you should do some fishing while you're here. The sea's probably swarming with mackerel.
So we all trooped off to Mary's. Not very merry that afternoon.
Amias can't do this.
Looks like he's going to.
He can't just leave his wife and child for some slip of a girl. She's too young to know what she's doing.
She knows, all right. Poor old Mary. All that sensitivity. No use at all. Hard to believe we come from the same stable. After tea, he took us to his lab.
Con-ine. I've never heard of this.
It's distilled from the flowers of the spotted hemlock. It's highly poisonous, but it can be efficacious in the treatment of whooping cough.
Then he had the cheek to read us some classical tripe about the death of Socrates or Plato or some such nonsense.
The man who administered the poison pinched his foot and asked if he felt it. Socrates said no. Then he did the same to his legs, and gradually, moving upwards in this way, he let us see that he was getting cold and numb. He said that when it reached the heart, Socrates would be gone.
Back at HQ that evening, Amias and Angela had a god almighty row about something or other. But that was nothing out of the ordinary. I even think she might have thrown something at him.
Can you remember what?
Good Lord, no. It was 14 years ago.
Oh, yes, of course. You are being most helpful, Monsieur Blake.
The next morning, when I came downstairs, I heard Amias and Caroline at it in the library. I don't know where they got the energy from.
I swear to God! You and your women. Someday I'll kill you, Amias. I swear to God I will.
Good morning.
Lovely day.
I want to get on.
I'll go change.
Don't be long. Bloody women.
And off he went back to his painting, while I went back inside.
Oh, good morning.
It's too cruel. Too cruel.
She hardly noticed me. Now, of course, I know why. Hello? What the hell's the matter?
I heard these noises in the laboratory. So I went to have a look. And the quinine bottle was not only out of place, but it was practically empty. And I swear to you, Phil, that yesterday it was full.
Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure. I'm very careful about these things.
And I knew at once it must have been Caroline. I should have gone straight to Amias and warned him.
That's absurd. Caroline wouldn't dream of such a thing.
Then what's your explanation?
We'll discuss it after lunch.
I'll see to her packing. What are you two up to?
Oh, what a surprise.
Yes,
We were just having a chat about Angela and school. I'm not at all sure it's the right thing.
Sorry about that. Hello, everybody.
I'd kill for a cold beer.
I'll send some down. I think we could all do with one.
And that's when it happened.
oh, why don't I take it?
Oh, no. Enjoy the sun.
At the time, I reasoned in my jealousy that she couldn't stand the thought of the two of them being alone together. I should have realized, but instead I just sat and watched. I had the chance to save him, and I did nothing.
You reproach yourself unduly, Monsieur Blake.
Amias didn't join us for lunch. And then Caroline took him coffee. So calm and collected, and yet she must have known by then he'd be dead. Miss Williams went with her, and then Meredith wandered off. But it wasn't long before we saw him again.
Get a doctor, quick. What's wrong?
It's Amias.
What?
I'm afraid he's dead.
Amias.
Phone the doctor. I'll take care of her. She was like an avenging fury. I've never seen anything like it.
You killed him. You killed him. Amias.
You've killed my dearest friend.
No. He did it himself.
Tell that to the police. They didn't believe her either.
Bien, Monsieur Blake. The truth, it has the habit of revealing itself.
Monsieur Poirot,
Lady Titisham.
let's get on with it, shall we? I said all I had to say about the Creel case many years ago. But I found your letter rather intriguing. How lucky you are curiosity got the better of me.
Indeed I am, my lady. It must be very painful for you to recall.
Painful? No. My father was a mill hand, worked his way up and made a mint. You can't do that with thin skin, and I, Monsieur Poirot, am my father's daughter. I am not as sensitive as you might think.
Then that makes my task a little easier.
One so often jumps to the wrong conclusion. At the trial, for example, people thought what a terrible ordeal it must have been for me. The brutish questions, the ghastly journalists, the mindless screaming crowds.
Well, the English are a people very moral, n'est-ce pas?
That's one way of looking at it.
Alors, if you did not find the trial an ordeal, how did you find it?
I enjoyed it. You see, I got exactly what I wanted.
And what was that?
Caroline Creel at the end of a rope. Coffee? Thank you, Tipping. You said in your letter that a Mademoiselle...
Le Marchand?
That's right. Had commissioned you. I don't believe I know her.
Oh, she is the daughter of Amias and Caroline Creel.
Oh, yes, of course, there was a child. Oh, dear. Does she think it was my fault?
That is a possible interpretation, oui.
How very stupid. Cream?
No. Merci. So you take no responsibility?
Why should I? I loved him, and I would have made him happy. And that woman killed him to stop that from happening. You have to understand. Amias Creel did not seduce an innocent young girl. It wasn't like that at all. Elsa Greer. As soon as I laid eyes on him, I knew I had to have him. I want you to paint me.
I don't do portraits.
I'm rather rich, you know. I can afford to pay.
And what makes you think I'd want to paint you?
But you do, don't you? And I always get what I want. So when do we start?
If I paint you, you realize I'll make love to you.
I'd have thought that went without saying. So he invited me down to their house. Quite bold of him, really. But Caroline didn't seem to mind. She didn't like me, but then why should she? And we never said anything that she couldn't have overheard. But we were more than aware of what was going on. What is it